We're recording. You ready?
Yep.
All right, G. Another episode. Uh,
Another episode. Another
high
episode.
school, high school season's pretty much over. That
Absolutely.
means that means it's our cue. AAU season is about to start. Families, players, they're all trying to figure it out. What team, what matters, how recruitment works. So today, let's just talk about the whole thing from the upcoming season, choosing an environment, what to do when you're on the floor, what your parents be looking for, and then understanding the recruitment process. All right. So what do you
Yeah,
got this year for
absolutely.
the AU season?
Oh man, we excited, man. Last year, little bit of a turmoil, but we got through it. But I was able to look at what we had last year, and we was still able to get some guys college looks, which was that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You probably heard me say this a lot of times. I like to be competitive. My goal is to change young men's lives, young ladies' lives through the utilization of basketball. And this year, man, I'm excited, man. Hey, we had a couple workouts so far, and I tell you, I don't like to brag too much, but I think we could be damn good. You know, back
Sorry
at
for
it again,
bragging, but
buddy.
here I go.
Back,
Yeah.
back at it again. Back at it again.
So what do you think players are getting ready to go to tryouts? Families going with their kids. What do you think? What do you think they should be looking for? They go into a gym. What are they? What should they be looking at?
Well, I think I know for us, I look for certain elements of the player. And people have heard me say this a lot. We are not for everybody. Just like some other programs are not for everybody. Um, we take the opportunity to evaluate the kid, the player, but also I evaluate the parents.
Yep.
So what are you looking? What are we looking for? We're looking for a player who wants to compete, who understands the concept of team first. You're not coming in being me first. Don't come in thinking what you see on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, like, oh man, that's going to be what I need to do to make a team. And if you know about our history, those the type of players we don't have. So I think as parents, when you walk in, you want to be affiliated with a organization that has a trend of moving a kid from AAU into the college ranks. There are a lot of teams, and everybody, a lot of people do a lot of good things too. So let me not say that is the only way that you can play. There are a lot of good programs. I just know for Virginia League, we will keep our trend going every year to get guys into college. We've been very fortunate. Of late, people have known a team that I had with Jordan Scott, Miles Franklin, Donnie Richardson, um, Cameron Pacheco, Dylan Gasway, all those guys going on and playing Division One basketball. But before then, you know, there was about 80 guys since we started that have gone on. So there's a formula that we have. You look for those certain characteristics. But number one, come in the gym ready to play. Leave the damn cell phone in the car, put it in your bag. Um, I told one kid he came with his mom and dad and he was on the phone. And I said, well, who the hell are you talking to? He said, well, I got all right, that's not gonna work. But guys who really and young ladies, because we do have a girls program too, who want to come in, how you say 10 toes down and put something down that we as coaches look for in a Virginia Elite player. Just like the other organizations, they have profiles of the type of players they like. We have the same thing as well. So I think parents need to look at what's the best fit for my child, his playing style, what he's done in the past or what he or she has done in the past, um, the level of competition, and again, it's not for everyone. And I'm not saying that to be sarcastic. I'm just saying that excuse me here that it's we look for those characters. We have examples of what is successful. You know, the Grant Goldens, the Paul Rowleys, the Cameron Jacksons, the CJ Hills, the Terrell Walkers, the Jordan Scotts, the Solomon Davises. Those guys throughout the years have we've been able to carve out what we are looking for. And that's not dictated by a parent. That's dictated by the player.
Okay. So I've heard there's a saying out there that, exposure isn't about being seen, it's about being seen doing something, which
Correct.
which I think has to do a lot with what team you play for. Part of this, I think, can go to the part of the conversation where, there's a bunch of players jumping teams every year, and that could be good or bad. The same as staying in the same program could be good or bad. Where are you on that? Do you like the continuity of a player that's been in the program? Do you evaluate every
Yeah.
year?
Yeah. Well, my theory is this: just because you change jersey doesn't necessarily mean you change who you are. You put on if you can't shoot, you can't shoot. I don't care what jersey you put on. If you can't comprehend concepts, it doesn't matter what jersey you put on. You're still the same person. Um, I think I think continuity and fit is the key to a player's success. If you fit a certain profile and you're able to get in the door early and stay there, I think that's a really good thing. I think where sometimes kids and parents seem to think because I go play for a certain team, I'm wearing a certain jersey, or I'll go from one color jersey to another color jersey. That's going to make me successful, and I've seen it over 25 years. We've had some kids who've been with us early, and they leave and go to other teams. And I would say, in 25 years, I've never had a kid leave Virginia Elite, go play for another team, and exceed the expectations that we looked at for that particular player, because we know the player, and what may look good, to some other person because they're playing with us, and when they get them, like, well, how did that work over there? And the profile is different, So it's a tough thing, if you are a player and you feel that you have what we call transferable skills. I'll just listen to ESPN. They were talking about college basketball and players going from one program to the other. Do you have transferable skills? Going from the NCAA to the pros, do you have transferable skills? You may not. Okay. And that's not size. That's not, I have a thing you've heard me say: size, speed, and skill. You got to have two of those three. If you don't have two of those three, in my book,
It's hard.
it's gonna be hard. And we want, we encourage our kids to understand that this is a process. It's not for everybody. And if you do not progress through training, through development, through your high school, through your AAU program, it gets short. And recruitment now it's a lot harder. Not saying that you can't be done, but it's a lot harder. So for us, I tell all the parents, man, just be careful making moves, because I know in the DMV, and I'll champion this, a lot of us talk to each other. A lot of the tournament, not tournament, but program directors, coaches, we talk to each other. And if a kid shows up at my tryouts that I know he's playing for somebody else, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call that person or that director and say, Joel's over here. Why the hell he over here? He doesn't fit my profile. So we do that, and it has been done for a number of years.
So in that same vein of fitting programs and having transferable skills, I think most players, maybe I don't know, a lot of players out there choose teams based on what circuit they play, and then this can take us into the whole understanding the landscape of recruitment, live period, all that good stuff. So obviously you have your shoe teams out there, which are the biggest circuits. Uh, how do you see being on an EYBL team and not really getting a lot of minutes versus being on a different circuit and having a bigger role? How does that
Well, I say this: if you're on the EYBL team and you're not playing, there's a reason. Okay, let's go back to our previous comment. If you don't have transferable skills just because you're on that team does not necessarily mean, it kind of falls back to that. You know, um, we played on the Under Armour circuit. We played, big shots. We played hoop group. We played, the circuit,
Made hoop.
and made hoops. And every year we've had guys get Division I scholarship offers and playing in college, and had excellent collegiate careers. Um, I think it's a choice. I think it's just like anything else. You know, in college, you want to go to a certain school, you think that's going to give you an advantage. Hey, you still have to go to class. you know, um, I had my opportunity to go to a bigger college, but it wasn't just a good fit for me. I said, well, let me go to this other school. It's a better fit for me. Um, and it really all boils down to this: EYBL, the Adidas circuit, Under Armour circuit. I love the Under Armour circuit. I think the Under Armour circuit has advantages that the others don't have. And I think it's an understanding of what that is. I have a lot of parents say, "Hey, I'm going to play for this team on EYBL circuit," and in our state of Virginia, there's only I think 3 EYBL teams. And if you do the math, if that's 30 kids. Then you break it down by position. If you're looking at a point guard, that's 2 kids per team. That's 6 kids. So again, transferable skills, getting in early. Um, if you can play, you can play. It doesn't matter if you are on a Under Armour circuit, EYBL, Adidas circuit, now the Puma circuit. I was watching college basketball the other night. There were 9 players playing high level, high major, Division I basketball that played on the Under Armour circuit, and one of them was our guy. One guy was at Kansas, another guy was at Gonzaga, another guy was at Florida State, another guy was at Arizona. But hell, they played on the Under Armour circuit. So you can't say that one is better than the other. It just what suits you. We've had guys who have left us and played with teams on other circuits, and unfortunately it didn't work out. And we have guys who stay with us, and you know um they went on to play professionally. So and time doesn't wait on nobody, so making the right choice is inevitable. You asked the question about bouncing around, man, and it's you know um again, transferable skills. It's just like you're going to get a job. You leave one job to go to the other, you bringing something to the table. It's a very slippery slope, and nowadays, everybody's, I have a lot of conversation. Oh well, we on this circuit or we on that circuit. It's very easy. I mean, hell, you can look it up on the internet. I mean, they have all the teams listed. So, you go from there. And I can say for Virginia Elite, the guys and young ladies who started years ago with this program laid the groundwork, and we have built a solid foundation. That's not just me as a director, but the coaches, the middle school coaches as yourself, our high school coaches, our alumni who come back and give back. And we have a finished product. One thing I can say, our guys who've gone on to college, they have been successful, and I'm very proud of that, so yeah.
All right, so 20 some years doing this. Obviously, you build relationships. I would argue that's an important part of what program you choose for your kid. Do they have a pipeline? Do they have relationships? Do you have a story you can share, an anecdote? Maybe a kid that you didn't think was going to pan out and turn out to be a Division I solid player.
Man, I can give you one right now. He's playing right now. Lucas Scroggins playing for St. Peter. Lucas came to me as a senior, no scholarship offers. And hell, I think 2 weeks ago he was on ESPN, made ESPN top 10 plays. Um, I know everybody knows, George Scott is doing this thing at Michigan State. Very proud of him. And I must say, a lot of the what we call basketball heads gave me a lot of shit about him and his ability to play at a high level. But that's why I've been in this game this long, and it's seen players of many different talents, many different skill sets get to a point of professionalism or playing at a high level. Um, but it's it's funny. I remember Lucas and his mom coming into our workout. We were actually holding a workout at Herndon High School, and this kid walks through the door, and I glanced over. I'm like, damn, who's this 6'7" dude walking through the door? And you know me, I love size. Size is, hey, if I got that, I can do the rest. And came in, very respectful. Of course, I asked him his story. He told me the story, and I said, "Well, let's get on the court. Let's see what we can do." And it was a learning curve for him when he came on board, and what the demand still
Senior.
is. Yeah, and everybody knows me. I'm an asshole sometimes as a coach. Let's call it what it is. But it's not disrespectful. It's getting you to get to a certain place, mentally as well as physically, and understand what this game calls for. And to make a long story short, he went to Valparaiso. From Valparaiso, who's now at St. Peter. He's playing his ass off. I actually had another Division I coach call me about him and like, hey man, is that your guy? And I'm like, yep, that's Lucas. Um, and we talk all the time, man. I'm so happy with him. Lucas is from Woodbridge, Virginia. I think he went to Woodbridge High, if I'm not mistaken. But Northern Virginia kid, and people don't realize. But when I saw him on ESPN, the top 10 plays for the day, man, I was so excited for him.
So
And
this
his
this kid
approach.
shows up. Yeah, this kid shows up a senior. Obviously, no offers. Obviously, either something hadn't clicked or he wasn't in the right situation. So how much do relationships play a role in exposing a kid like Lucas to the right eyes?
Well, I mean, just not Lucas. It's every player. When you get a job, what they ask for references. You
Yeah.
know, and in this world of now, shit, schools are popping up everywhere, and there's damn near 100 teams in a 10 square mile radius. Relationships mean a lot. You know, one thing about me, I don't BS coaches. If I tell a coach or reach out to a coach about a player, I make sure that we are presenting that player in a manner that is going to keep that coach's job. I will say in 25 years, here's a stat for you. In 25 years, I have never had a coach fired with my player on the roster in 25 years. Um, and if I did, it's one, but um, and that's something I'm really really proud of. And people don't realize how important that is. I'm not going to tell a coach, "Oh, wait, this kid is this. He does this, that, and the other," and then that this coach comes out to look at this kid and he can't do it. Now my reputation is shot. You know, um, it means a lot. It really means a lot. And some of the young guys that I know that are starting programs, I tell them, I mean, you have to be, people say be honest when you are selecting a kid through a tryout process, but you also have to be extremely critical. You got to look at every aspect of what that kid can do, not just on the basketball court, but socially. What is he or she doing? Academically, what is he or she doing in the classroom? Um, there's so many risks now. We hear all these different stories. Matter of fact, we just heard a kid at USC. Hell, he's 32 years old, damn freshman or whatever. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, at some point in time, you got to be honest, And I'm not saying that's the norm, but you see stories like that. You be like, well, damn, what went wrong? What it's almost laughable. But
See, I'm still in my 30s. Let me check if
and
I
man, you
got
know
some
what? Hey,
eligibility.
hey, I got a little bit of eligibility left.
Yeah.
I think now I'm not playing no damn defense. So hey, I'm gonna tell you that
Just
right
park
now.
me in the corner. I can shoot
Hey,
it.
just park me in the corner. I'm gonna shoot it, and I might stand there, make a miss. But yeah, man, it is very important. Relationships. A lot of the um coaches, Division 1, Division 2, assistant coaches. I look at it like, I'm helping you keep your job, keeping food on your table for your family. So and that goes back what you asked you asked a question before about, there's different circuits. You know, um, if you can play, you can play. Now we play on an
Mhm.
unarmored circuit, but my players are playing for Nike college programs. So the schools that recruited my guys, they were Nike schools. And really and truly, what does that really mean? In the end of the day, let's really answer that question too. And I, what does that really mean? I'm playing on the unarmored circuit. A school comes recruit my guy, and that school is a Nike program. What am I supposed to say? Right? That same coach is also going over to the EYBL. That same coach is also going over to the Adidas circuit, right? So at the end of the day, is can you play the game? What is your value to that coach? If there are 5 guards that they like and they're all 6'1" and they just play on different circuits, now you start looking at the other stuff, the intangibles, you know, is he a leader? How does he act with his parents? How does he interact with his coaches? Um, I told somebody about one of my pet peeves of my guys. At the end of the game, we don't take off our jerseys. You gather your stuff up and we walk off the floor respectfully. You know, um, I've seen teams won, but they've lost. You know, I'm looking at their actions. We were just at a made hoops event with my girls, and we lost. But what I remember is one of the girls really being disrespectful to her coach
Mm.
and to our players who wanted to get, to say thank you. I may see that girl, you know, down the road. I'm like, damn, I remember that. But that coach that I know may ask me, do you know this person? And I'm very honest.
Yeah.
So, um, it's yeah, the relationships mean something.
So
Absolutely.
something that you touched on, I don't think. Let me know if I heard it right, because I don't think a lot of people realize this. The relationships from an AAU program now go beyond even after you already start in college, because there's so many transfers happening that you may need someone to connect you with someone else. Is that how that works?
Oh, absolutely. 1,000%. Uh, and that's why I tell my guys, wherever you are, be respectful. And it's not being soft. It's not, we're from Northern Virginia. I'm old school. And one thing my mother always told me is, manners will take you further than your knowledge. Because some people remember you saying thank you. Excuse me. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. It may sound old school. It may sound very mundane, but believe it or not, coaches remember stuff like that. You know, so those are the things that take a kid a long way sometimes. And I watch those interactions with other teams. When I go to tournament, I watch other teams. I watch how their coach is handling their team and how the team is responding to their coach.
Yeah.
And either I take something away from it, or I say, man, if my kids did this, whew, we could have a long night. so um, all in all, man, it's about delivering unless you have that unique skill. There's only one LeBron James. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
If you're
I'll
one
be
of
very,
them, it's different. Yeah.
yeah, if you one of them, and let's be honest with you, sometimes those things in this basketball sporting world gets overlooked.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Yeah.
Okay. So look, what was it, 1 week ago? Last week we went up to New York to watch Miles Franklin play a conference game and his
Yep.
Columbia team. Obviously, not just the relationship that you have through the program, but keeping that relationship with the boys as they do their collegiate careers. What does it feel, guys? And you get these kids in middle school, maybe 15, ninth grade. You get them through the pipeline, you get through the program, they get recruited out of their high schools and Virginia Elite, and now they're out there doing it in the Division 1 in a big way because Jordan's out there making a name for himself, starting for Michigan State. Miles is now starting for Columbia. He's been like the rookie of the week. How many times now? Seven or
Five
eight.
times. Five
Even after
times.
five, right? Even
Five
after coming
times.
from injury, so they're out there performing. What does that feel like as a program director?
It is one of the best feelings that you could even imagine. And sometimes I get sentimental. Um, and I remember the last game we played with Jordan and Miles and Donnie and those guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm watching the clock that fourth quarter. I didn't want it to end. Being very so I'm a lead up to this. I didn't want it to end. And we got under a minute, and I literally had to take a step back and say to myself, man, I really appreciate these guys believing in me, believing in Virginia Elite, believing in the coaching staff. Um, and then throughout this process, seeing them get recruited, seeing coaches come watch them play, um, it's a joy for me as a director to see this happen. Because I tell you, when I first started, I had people basically told me it could never work.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna play for you. You're never gonna get a guy in the college. Um, you're from Northern Virginia. You can't compete against the teams over in DC. And at the time, DC Assault was hot and heavy. Team Taker was just coming about. Fairfax Stars was on the board side. That's a good program, good teams. But I had several people look me in my face, man. This will never work. Um, and I think about those things when I see the Jordans and the Miles and the Lucases, the Grant Goldens, the Cameron Jacksons, the Paul Rowleys, who not only to the players but the parents. So it's something that goes, and they're like sons to me, um, because there's some ups and downs. Not gonna lie, there's some hard lessons that have to be um, given to them as a coach, and I look at not just as a coach, as a mentor for these young men. And but when they get to a point, man, they're on the court and they're succeeding. It takes on a whole nother meaning of what success really is. And I'll tell you a story. Grant Golden, who played at University of Richmond, and you can Google this. Grant was playing in the game. I think it was against Texas Tech. Um, at I forgot where the actual game was being held at. But anyway, to make a long story short, Grant heart stopped in the game, passed out in the game. Now everybody talk about Shaquille O'Neal's son. That wasn't the first time. We all know the Hank Gather story. Um, but that happened, and I was supposed to go to that game, and I didn't go. And one of my friends called me and said, "Hey, are you looking at TV?" And I'm like, "No." He said, "You need to check on Grant." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" So I flip on the TV, turn on the TV, turn to the game. I see Grant being taken off the floor on the stretcher.
Mm.
Well, there was a cardiac situation that took place. Um, and I became really close to Grant's mother, his dad, his brothers, his family. The next day I was in my car. I'm headed down to Richmond. Um, Grant and I were in the hotel room, and I remember Grant saying how much he missed it. This is like day one or day two after he kind of got out. He's like, Coach, I really miss it, you know. And I remember telling him, I said, hey, you're gonna be okay. Get through this. Coach is gonna be there with you through your rehab, through whatever it takes. I will be there. And and here's the funny part about it. Grant comes back. Grant makes he selected all A10 every year after that, one form or the other. And then Grant goes on. He's MVP of the Reese's All-Star Game on CBS. Um, he's playing with the Denver Nuggets. He's now playing overseas. I'm kind of fast forwarding. So situations like that, as a director, as a young man who's from Winchester, Virginia, um, it means a whole lot. So that last game with that team with Jordan and Miles and Donnie, I was talking to Donnie Richardson as we were walking up the court. No, Donnie said to me, Donnie said, Coach, don't cry, don't cry. But the team meant so much to me.
Yeah.
As a unit. It's on videos on out there on YouTube or something. I couldn't hold it back. And I remember Jordan looking at me and giving that damn smirk that he always does in good thing. But then I watch these guys go from, hey guys, we're competing, to being recruited, to now playing and being a part of college programs. I can't tell you how much that means to the program, but also means to me as a director. So now we got some young guys coming up, and we hope to repeat those, not the crime part, but the success part as well.
Hey, that just means you care, in my opinion.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed.
All right, G, I think this one covers it. You got anything else you want to share?
We I think this upcoming season, I will say this. I think the middle school teams, yourself, Coach Ivan Pender, Chris Sanders, Jeff Murray, Ivan Beck now, um, are really creating something that I didn't really see 2 years ago. Now we had some teams. You came along, you started building. I remember when you and I were talking. You said, "Hey, just trust me." I said, "Okay, let's rock and roll." And that's where it starts from. And getting to the point of playing on the circuit, being a part of the program. That's the process. You know, not jumping here, not jumping there. Because when you do that, AAU season is only what, 4 months, 4 or 5 months. Um, so the relationship building has to start way before that. And I want to champion and really give a shout out to the middle school coaches, the staff, Ron Austin, Antonio Butler, Rashad Gadson, um, Jeff Murray. Get a big shout out to two of our sponsors now supporting the program, Hammer Nails, as well as Red's Table here in Reston, Virginia. So we're building a strong foundation, strengthening that foundation with the success of our guys. So I think for me, for the program, representing what we are about means a lot. And hey, we're built for success. We're just not a program. We're built for success. So that's my word. And hey, see us out on the circuit. We'll be getting it in.
All right.
I mean.